But if you're going down to the Pottery of All Nations, tell them to please try to get me an Okinawan mug. They are magnificent. And if you don't know about the Pottery of All Nations, this is a wonderful place. It's a place, if you're going to make the village scene, just to spend about 2 hours. And by the way, they always keep the coffee on. You can have a cup of coffee while you're there and fool around and look at the Italian tiles and the German pottery and the Danish flatware and all this stuff. And it's all on rough wooden shelves. People walk around and kids cry and old ladies push each other. You can hide for weeks in the back there. They have a lamp section. These old Italian ceramic lamps and all that, all piled up in great big gargoyles and stuff. You can stand around back there and sniff, and weep a little bit, and drink your coffee and get away from, It's the Pottery of All Nations, who have never been known to pluck at anybody's sleeve. And they have the stuff now. And by the way, their prices are amazing. They have another store over at 64th and Lex on the east side. They're open also till 10. And a beautiful one across the river in New Jersey for the exiles in Paramus on Route 4. The Pottery of All Nations. And the coffee pot is always hot in all the stores. Now, one more note here. No notes at all. I keep thinking whether I'd like to put ads in a car or count the number of cars going past or be a bum. I think I'll pick being a bum, actually. How about this one? He says, here's one for you to stick in your hollow tooth. Write a history of the Red Cross. How would you like to write a history of the Red Cross? Write a history of the Red Cross. Search for information to shed new light on a famous historical event, all capitalized, or write a musical comedy. He says, look, Dad, let's level. Half of the guys who write histories of the Red Cross secretly would love to be able to write a musical. He says, and half the guys who do write informations on new lights on famous historical events are doing it hoping that someone will make it into a musical. He says, what is this, He says, as a matter of fact, I don't want to write any one of those. I would prefer to write a novel, which I'm working on now. He said, and they didn't have anything down there about novels. It's always write a thing about an event or a famous person. Nobody talks about it. Write poetry? No, that never enters it. That's classified with odd-looking people with strange ideas. Poetry. Thought you might like to... This is a kind of nice choice here. Don, which would you rather be? Be the most successful tractor salesman in the country, be a certified public accountant, or be an authority on taxation? Oh, what a dull choice. All three of them you want to be? I can't stand any of them. How would you like to be an authority on taxation? Ugh. Taxes, schmaxes. Oy. Like my mother used to say, looking out over the window through her potted geraniums. She'd see old Bruner staggering up on Saturday night with a snoot full, catching his neck on the clothesline as he goes in. He finally falls through the screen door, and she says, death and taxes and Bruner on Saturday night. I'd say, Mom, what do you mean, death and taxes and Bruner? She says, when you grow up, you'll know. Well, to be honest with you, Ma, I never have found out. I mean, it is all a giant conjecture. Which would you rather be most? Come on, you residents of Queens. Your kids are being asked this. Would you rather be the most successful tractor salesman in the world? Of course, you're supposed to say no to that one. I mean, this is slobism, apparently. You notice they don't say be the most successful Ford salesman? Because most of the kids will grow up to be that. It's a tractor salesman, the most successful tractor salesman in the country. Be a certified public accountant. Now, that's very respectable. Yes. Be an authority on taxation. Very respectable. They don't say be a trapeze artist. Never any... no wonder guys who go into the arts feel terrible. But do you know that almost every artist I know has a deep sense of guilt because in America, artists are never classified on any kind of... never. They never put them down on any of these things as having a legitimate vocation. This is like things you play with, like cutting out paper dolls and fooling around. Oh, they should do. They should work as an artist for a while. Ooh. I mean, it's a lot more than the romantic life in the loft, I can tell you that. And there are many people who are, and I'm not talking about illustrators who illustrate Saturday Evening Post short stories. Not what we're talking about. One of my friends, for example, is a successful artist, a really successful, fine artist, Don Kingman. And Don Dong says that every time he goes out to sketch, now this man has earned his living as a fine artist for years, and every time he goes out to sketch, somebody comes around and stands and looks over his shoulder. And he says pretty soon they'll say, you draw? Here he's sketching away. And he says, yes, I do. Well, I draw too. Okay. Dong doesn't say anything. Then there's another long pause. And then he says, finally, well, what do you do for, do you work? What do you do for a job? Says, well, I'm working right here. You know, I work 29 hours a day at this. Oh. And the guy walks, there's a bum. He works 4 hours a day at his job, and his union makes it possible for him to stand around for the other 4. And he thinks that an artist is a fool and a charlatan, a bum, and a fraud. Believe me, no artist is allowed to stand around, because when you see those pictures hanging on the gallery, somebody had to paint them. And there ain't no union for painters. No 10-minute breaks. On the hour, every it just doesn't work that way. No scale at all, no. And they're not even allowed, as far as I know, they don't even come under Social Security. You know? But nevertheless, they're very important people. The most important, probably, that we have. And that includes the whole crew. Now, so what would you rather do? Advise people on personality improvement? Hey, you lady out in Staten Island, I'm sure she knows which one she'd rather do. Yes, I like to tell people about their personality problems, of course. But then, on the other hand, I've caught several rare animals in my time. You know, I've been married twice. And cash checks, yes, I love cashing checks. Now that you ask the question, I can't tell really which I'd prefer to do. Depends on the time of day. Yes, Mr. Shepherd, you are the one. Yes. Speaking of art, I think that every American owes it to himself to know something about art. What do you mean? Oh, what a cliche. I don't believe that. Stop it, Shepherd, I don't. Now, cut it out. Why did you say that? There comes the old clichésville again. No. Let's put it on this basis. If you think you should know something about art, and particularly American art, you should know about the... Come on, put the thing up there. What? No, don't take it down. Leave it up there. No. See, you took the sign down. Put it up again. There you go. There. That makes me feel a little more secure. You should know something about the Art Students League. And the Art Students League is one of the real bulwarks of American art. More artists than I know of. By the way, Dong is one of the people who taught there some time ago. I believe I don't think he studied there. I think he taught there at one time. All sorts of interesting people teach at the Art Students League. People like Marius Cooper, a superb watercolorist, incidentally. And if you are interested in knowing something about American art in particular, which incidentally is the leading school today in the world, if you can classify a nation's art output as a school, that something in the American air in the last 5 or 6 years has galvanized our artists to become the kind of spearhead of what is, at any given time in history, one nation is producing the people who are influencing most of the other artists in the world. Now, this is either for good or bad. We're not here to describe or to make any value judgments on it. This is a fact. That at one time it was the French artist. At another time it was the German artist. Of course, there was a period of time when the Spanish, we're going back in history now. The most recent big influences, of course, were the French, around the turn of the century all the way on up into the 20s. And then gradually, in the 30s, the American artist began to be a world power. A lot of important people grew to maturity in that period, and even to this day, although there are some signs that it is beginning to taper off, the American artist is the galvanizing factor in world art. That their paintings are examined and understood and rejected or accepted by the world's artists. They are, in a sense, the ferment. They're the seed around which artistic ferment is boiling today. And many of these people came out of the Art Students League. And if you would like to know something about this organization, they would be more than pleased to send you a big booklet. It's about an 80 or 85-page book, and it contains all kinds of illustrations, pictures, and reproductions of the work of the people who teach there as well. And incidentally, you can only judge. See, one of the things that's interesting about the Art Students League, and I speak here as an amateur painter and drawer, is that you select the man you want to work with merely by the work that he does. And working with a teacher in any one of the arts is a very difficult proposition. You cannot be taught talent, Get it out of your head. This business, with the match covers, you too can learn it. Yeah, you can learn to draw, but that doesn't mean you have talent. You can't learn it. And working with talent is a very difficult thing. And the Art Students League has a wide selection of people who are really experienced teachers, and all of them are excellent, well-known, and understood painters. So if you'd be interested in getting one of these booklets, just send your name and address to Art Students League in care of Gene Shepard, WOR, New York, New York. And nobody's going to be pounding on you. This is purely educational. They're not going to try to sell you any courses, any of this nature. If you want to take them, of course, they'd love to have you. But no one's going to be banging on your doors. It's time for your life class, Fred. Although that wouldn't be bad either. I know some people who can take some classes in life. Arts Students League, Gene Shepard, WOR, New York, New York. And they'll send the thing out to you. No cost. Very few things are no cost. Now, I'm going to ask you some more questions here that you might find difficult to answer. Let's see. Would you rather be an authority on contract bridge, an authority on soil erosion, or an authority on billboard advertising? Now, that'll hang you up for a while. Kid says, I hate card games. He says, I don't know what soil erosion is. He says, and billboards hurt my eyes. I never was a sociable. But you have to make the choice, because if you leave all of them blank, you are obviously one of those odd people with strange ideas. Either that, or you're way down at the bottom of the class of the group that can't read. Whereas actually the fact is you can read too well. I mean, come on, stand up. It's your knees first that get it, man. Oh, yes, tonight I'm going to be on the Long John Show. I'm going to be on the Long John Show from midnight all through the night. Oh, this is the kind of show that makes it. I mean, no time limitations, nothing but toil and trouble, boil and bubble. And while you're thinking that over, friends, I hope that by next Monday night you'll have an answer for me. Whether you want to teach contract bridge, whether you want to teach soil erosion or billboard advertising, or perhaps whether you'd like to have friends, have power, or have fame. Choose these things and think them over very carefully, because you're liable to be judged for the rest of your life on them. You're liable to be put in a But yet, on the other hand, everyone wants to be put in a category if they can. So be the first in your neighborhood to have a real big title, a tag underneath you. A friendly man lives here in this house. Friendly, reliable, and one that you can trust. And by the way, he's got his 2 feet on the ground. He's picked all the right categories.
Okay. Well, I think it's about time to wrap it up, especially because I'm getting kind of tired, and I've been up since 2:50 in the morning today. What remains of the day, so. Alright, well, I'll catch y'all later. Have fun. Listen to TRP. I'm going to turn the black button to red and put this baby in the can.